It is my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker. Dr. C.L. Max Nikias became the University of California's 11th president in August 2010. He holds the Robert C. Packard President's Chair and the Malcolm R. Curry Chair in Technology and the Humanities, and chairs the USC Hospitals Governing Board. He has been at USC since 1991 and has served as professor, director of national research centers, dean, and provost. He holds faculty appointments in both electrical engineering and the classics. Dr. Nikias received a diploma from the National Technical University of Athens, the oldest and most prestigious higher education institution of Greece, and later earned his master's degree and PhD from the State University of New York at Buffalo. He is recognized internationally for his pioneering research on digital signal processing, digital media systems, and biomedicine. The U.S. Department of Defense has adopted a number of his innovations and patents in sonar, radar, and communication systems. He has authored more than 275 journal articles and conference papers, as well as 3 textbooks. He is a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, a member of the National Academy of Engineering, a charter fellow of the National Academy of Inventors, and a fellow of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. As president, Dr. Nikias has articulated a vision for USC to attain undisputed elite status as a global research university. His initiatives include recruiting a cadre of transformative world-class faculty, elevating USC's academic medical enterprise, expanding USC's international presence, further improving the breadth and quality of USC's outstanding student body, and embarking on the largest fundraising campaign in the history of higher education. His first 2 years as president were highlighted by 8 transformative gifts that allowed USC to raise an unprecedented total of $2 billion. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Max Nikias.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Lawson, and thank you, President Sang and Dr. Greenstein, for the privilege of joining you today. Graduates of Santa Monica College, it is a mark of our times that milestones that are to be celebrated are so often accompanied by sadness and uncertainty. Sometimes on the other side of the world, and sometimes in our own backyard and our own community. These are the times that you have inherited. Yet, I believe that today's ceremony symbolizes how we're here for a purpose, to bring order and meaning from the complexity and chaos that this generation has inherited. May you be more determined than ever to do so. We honor the memory of those who lost their lives so tragically, best by committing ourselves to building a better city and a better age in which our children are safe to grow, to discover, to love, and to reach their full potential. Death and life indeed have their determined appointments. Riches and honor indeed depend on the mercies of heaven. But we all have our role to play to bring the best of heaven here today for our families and for our communities. In the midst of our sorrow, may we not neglect to celebrate fully this milestone. Families and friends and educators gather here today who made this day possible. Let this milestone, which has been achieved during a time of trial, help each of you discover your true place in your community and in the cosmos. Nearly 2,200 years ago, the great Roman politician and philosopher Cicero wrote an entire book of letters to his son Marcus to remind him of his responsibilities to himself, his family, and his society. In short, he wanted to remind his son of the principles that led to an honorable life. Cicero said, "We are not born for ourselves alone. We do not live for ourselves alone. Our country, our family, our friends have a share in us." So the choices you make today will shape the person you become tomorrow. The actions you take in the present will have consequences in the future. Use your reason to make honorable decisions, decisions that will ultimately benefit you and others. Remember what this day means at its core. For many of you, your experiences here are serving as gateway to a new world. I deeply identify with this. I was the first member of my family to get the opportunity to go to college. My mother and father did not even get the chance to complete their high school studies. But my mother dreamed that I might someday be a high school teacher. She considered that the most noble profession. And every day, she instilled that dream in me. As she would send me off to elementary school in the morning, she would say, "If you don't get good grades, you will bring shame on the whole family." And you know what? As a kid, I believed her. So as a kid, I felt that all of a sudden, the whole honor of the family lied on my shoulders. But seriously, looking back, my parents were very passionate in their belief that education is the greatest equalizer of society. Education lifts up the weak from despair, and it teaches humility to the mighty. Education is what helps us to be fully human and to appreciate the full range of human experience in our own life. And education is indeed what my wife and I came to the United States to pursue graduate studies, to pursue the dream of a better life through better education. Sure, there have been challenges and obstacles. Nothing comes easy in life. Always remember, there is no shortcut to life's success. So my hope is that as your long journey continues, you will set your sights higher than what may seem reasonable. And my hope is that you will work as hard as necessary to achieve the unexpected and to bend destiny in your direction. You cannot go wrong with hard work. And no matter which direction you choose, you cannot substitute anything else for hard work. You may not always get the exact opportunity you want at a given moment, but don't let that distract you. Work toward the opportunities that you do have before you. Remember this metaphor. A great athlete may prepare over a lifetime to run a race at the Olympics that might last only 9 seconds. Think of your own life that way and make honest, hard work as part of your daily life. Let it become second nature to you. And with hard work comes persistence, especially the ability to persist after a major setback. Here is another example from my own career. In the early 1990s, I arrived at USC as a professor of engineering. I had been recruited by USC to try to establish the nation's first National Center of Excellence in the area of digital media. I knew this was an incredible opportunity. I spent a few years putting together what we thought was an outstanding team of people from various academic fields and from the business world, from engineering, from cinema, from communications, from music, psychology, and many other disciplines. And I believed that we had assembled a proposal that would win the funding we needed from the National Science Foundation. But when the time came, our proposal was declined. We didn't even make it for a site visit review. It was a big failure. What was supposed to be the high point of my career now was the low point of my career. In fact, looking back, was the lowest. And I was shocked, I was disappointed, and in many ways, yes, I was depressed. But we did not give up. It was an important lesson. So I had to reassemble a new team, a better team, a bigger team, and we had to work harder and smarter. On our second attempt, a few years later, we succeeded. And you know what? Our proposal was ranked number 1 out of 117 submitted to the National Science Foundation. We left nothing to chance. So, as we celebrated this long-delayed victory, and that was 18 years ago, from its first inception to winning it, it was 5 years of hard work. I realized the central truth. The important thing wasn't that we won it. The important thing was that we found the courage not to give up and to compete again even harder. It was the fall first and then the rise. With persistence comes a commitment to learning. Your learning is not complete today, or with your next degree, or even if you go on to complete a PhD degree. Your learning is in vain until you learn that learning is a lifetime process. Do not let your knowledge settle like a stagnant water, but let it continue to flow forth as fresh waters. In your own lifetimes, constant learning will be more essential than ever. Because of rapid advances in medical sciences and biotechnology, many of you, your generation, is going to live on the average up to the age of 90. Your career spans will be longer than that of any previous generation. And most of you will need to change careers many times during your lifespan, as old industries die and new ones are born. You will need to keep reading and keep studying while you are working to stay ready for your next career move. So to return to the image of the Olympic athlete, the marathon was a tradition honoring the warrior Philippides. Philippides ran 26 miles from the city of Marathon to Athens in 490 BC to give notice with his dying breath that the Athenian army had won a battle against the Persians at Marathon. In that way, you must see your education as a long marathon that does not end until you breathe your last breath. Lifelong learning is essential to developing good character. The great Greek philosopher Heraclitus observed about 2,600 years ago that your character is your destiny. A man or a woman's character is what inevitably shapes the course of his or her life. Through the centuries, this timeless truth has been reaffirmed by figures ranging from Pericles of Athens to George Washington, from Abraham Lincoln to Martin Luther King. But character is not simply about being nice. Character is about having earned the trust and respect of others when everything is on the line. Character is the discipline that allows you to make wise choices and wise investments over and over and over. The forging of character is a lifelong journey, one which must be consciously undertaken each new morning. And it should keep you focused on what Cicero said. We do not live for ourselves alone, but for those whom Providence has placed in our care. So celebrate this milestone today with this in mind. Celebrate this milestone with your families and with your friends, with your community in mind. And I'm especially proud to have met so many graduates today who will be joining me this fall at USC to continue your studies. I look forward to walking alongside you in the next stage of your journey. And for all of you, wherever you go, you do go into an uncertain world. But seriously, what is uncertainty? Uncertainty, it is the beginning of a great adventure. And embrace it. Embrace this great adventure. And as we say at USC, fight on, always. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.